Hello. This lecture is part of the video lecture course dedicated to climate change and green transition. It is created within the framework of project learning. The lecturer, Borislav Grigorov, is an associate professor at Sofia University. He teaches biogeography at the Faculty of Geology and Geography. His research interests are focused on invasive species, endangered species, and the protection of biodiversity.
Hi to you all. I'm pleased to be participating in this interesting project. Today we will be discussing the broad subject of ecology, and I will start with some kind of a historical review of the subject, and we will be going in the green transition moments. A few minutes later we will be discussing climate change and so on. So the accelerated technological development of human society is taking in place in parallel with the occurring climate change and the intensive exploitation of natural resources, and this is the so-called anthropogenic pressure. In 1972 in Stockholm was the first World Conference of Environmental Problems, and it was followed in 1992 by the first conference in Rio de Janeiro, where most of the world's countries recognize that human impact is destroying ecosystems and is eliminating genes and species at an alarming rate. It was followed by the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment in the year of 2005, and after that there was the Rio Plus 20 Summit, where Sustainable Development meeting it was arranged in Rio de Janeiro. Then we entered the so-called period of environmental revolution. I will be discussing in the next slides the situation regarding the carbon dioxide concentration and the temperature. Carbon dioxide concentration, we can see that it is building up, carbon dioxide is building up in the atmosphere from the 1960s to till nowadays, let's say. The concentration is measured in parts per millions, and nowadays it is reaching over 400 ppms, which is unprecedented in the human history. And it is comparable to the concentration of carbon dioxide in previous geological epochs. The global temperatures have also risen. We can see that the 5-year average and the annual average, they both can be seen as rising in the from the last years to now. And all of these changes are making biodiversity adapt. So there is an answer of biodiversity to climate change. So yes, we can say that climate change has a direct and indirect impact on species and ecosystems. The direct changes leads to changes in physiological conditions. Species exist under certain environmental conditions, as we know, like light, heat, humidity, in which they can maintain an optimal life cycle. The indirect changes are tied with the availability of vegetation-based resources such as food, shelter, and nesting sites. So climate determines key processes such as photosynthesis and decomposition, as well as the circulation of substances. The photosynthesis, as we know, it depends on the amount of carbon dioxide. So territories that are occupied by grass and shrub vegetations may turn into forests in warmer and more humid climate. And climate change is one of the reasons that have led to the extinction of species in the past. There were 5 mass extinctions, and we are regarded as one of the reasons, we humans, we are regarded as one of the reasons for the sixth mass extinction in the history. The biggest disasters in history were during the period of the Ordovician, the Devonian, the Permian, the Triassic, and the Cretaceous, where when there were different causes that were adding value, like falling sea levels, rapid global cooling, asteroid impacts, as well as volcanic activity, the increase in methane and carbon dioxide. The extinction rate can be seen in this slide. These tops of the graph, they are showing the major 5 extinction, and the year of 0, which is shown to the right of the graph, it is showing the current extinction rate and supposedly the 6th max extinction, which is occurring now. So what is the difference now? Changes in climate today differ from those until now in many ways. There have been no humans until now to enhance the greenhouse effect by burning fossil fuels. Today's climate change coincides with the 6th mass extinction, as I said before, and it is also fueled by habitat loss, overuse of species, the introduction of invasive species, changes in ecosystem functioning as well. So the combination of climate change and the aforementioned facts are creating troubles for the species nowadays, but surely they will adapt to this situation. They have always been. Modern day activities, they are related to land use, which are tied with changes in the composition, structure, and the functioning of ecosystem. This results in limiting access to resources, which further deteriorates the state of biodiversity. Ecosystem processes occurred unhindered before the Anthropocene, and there has always been a dynamic continuum of ecosystem types for species to inhabit. This is not the case today, and this is where the enormous importance of protected areas come in. So, according to the IUCN Red List, more than 37,400 species are threatened with extinction today. This includes over 40% of the amphibians, over 30% of the coniferous species, over 30% of the coral reefs, over 30% of sharks and rays. So here we can see different changes in forest cover that are due to the impact of humans. As we know, there is this so-called approach slash and burn in tropical areas, which is leading to the destruction of forests. People are clearing them in order to make crops, to use this area for cropping, mainly for monocultures, that are leading to the exhaustion of soils. So it's not a nice process at all. Let's talk about soil and climate change. This slide is showing some of the connections between them. Soil is a carbon pool, it sequesters carbon from the air, so carbon is staying within the soil and it's not going out in the air. This is the better version for us. Soil humidity has dropped in the Mediterranean area and has increased in Northern Europe since the 50s, as scientists say. Total number of 30 countries, that all of them are EU members, have admitted that they are more prone to desertification. Erosion is another issue. It is accelerated by climate change, and with its more intensive storms, drought, heat waves, and so on. Agricultural lands will be less farmed to the south. This is expected. We cannot be sure in total about this, of course. and they will be more productive to the north. It is debatable that among the biggest problems are carbon dioxide and methane levels. The latter are stored in the permafrost in the northern regions, mainly in Siberia. So these are some photos that are showing desertification around the world, and here we can see permafrost thawing to the north due to the impacts of climate change. So here I have two photos about the so-called reductionist approach and systems approach, which are helping us to understand better the functioning of the ecosystem as a whole. Both approaches have to be used, should be used in order to get the main impression of the functioning of the ecosystem. In general, the reductionist approach here, it is shown as parts of the vehicle which have their own function, but when they are made up as a car, they have another function. So we come to the systems approach, where we investigate, we discuss the functioning of the whole system. Let's talk about the ecosystem goods and services as a function of the ecosystem. There are the provisioning services, regulated servicing, culture services, and the supporting services. All of them have a sufficient number of examples in it that are helping humankind to exist in nature, as if humans are not a part of nature. But yes, we study the ecosystems and their functioning, like the provisioning services include energy, seafood. The regulating services include flood prevention, climate regulation, erosion control. The supporting services include biological diversity maintenance, and the cultural services include educational, recreational, as well as spiritual services. We can say something about the Sustainable Development Goals that are created by the UN, adopted by the United Nations. There are 17 goals that would like to show us how to live in a better way, to preserve nature, to improve our lives as well. Some of these goals are strictly connected, tied with the ecosystems, like the number 13, climate change, or 14 and 15 that include life below water, life on land, and so on. We come to the concept of sustainability. Sustainability has three pillars in it. They are the environmental, the social, and the economic pillar. And we have to, it would be better if we live today in a way that there will be the same number of resources or more resources for future generations. Unfortunately, there are terms like the overshoot day of the Earth. This Earth overshoot day started in the December 25th in 1971, and nowadays we are exhausting the resources of the Earth in July 28th. Nowadays, this graph shows data reaching the year of 2022. So, as we are coming to the day we live today, the Earth overshoot day is coming more to the beginning of the year, which is not good at all. This is the carbon footprint, the forest land, the cropland, the grazing land, the fishing grounds, and the build-up land. They all make the ecological footprint, which is the footprint we leave as a mark to the area we inhabit. We can see that there are a lot of countries that are having large ecological footprint per person. Among them are the countries in the Middle East, such as Qatar, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, and countries like Denmark and the United States also have one of the biggest ecological footprints per person. I am finishing the presentation with 2 slides of additional information that can be included in your library that could be helpful for you to learn more about the subject. So, thank you for your attention.